Hello everyone, Firemac here, and welcome back to my Endwalker playthrough. It's been a minute since my last recording. You may recognize I fell asleep in that episode, assuming I didn't cut that out. Probably shouldn't have, it'd be kind of funny to leave it in. We're still doing role quests because I've had time to level up my stuff, so we're just gonna keep doing this until I run out of role quests, and then we'll go back to MSQ. But this is helping me out because since this is not the super important MSQ stuff, I can test out my. What you guys don't know is I have yet another new webcam. This one is supposedly 60 frames per second, so this might actually solve all my problems with webcam sync. So hopefully it stays synced throughout this entire episode. I mean, you guys won't notice as much because I try to edit it as much as I can so you don't notice it. But it's far from perfect. But if this is good, then this would be amazing. I would wish I would have it from the beginning, but it is what it is. Will's unending, faith unbending. Artoyel has the identity of the blasphemy on his mind. Gonna be a short stream today, guys. This is gonna be one episode's worth. Firemac, you are ever a sight for sore eyes. Also, I'm rocking some gunner glasses, by the way. I don't need glasses. These are gunner glasses. Ill tidings, my friend. I dispatched a couple knights to find the clergyman who aided in Bishop Bartenoy's summoning attempt. Regrettably, when confronted, all turned and had to be put down. Without their accounts, how then to ascertain that the clone and Vaindro are the same individual? Maintaining the assumption that they are, perhaps we should instead consider how Vaindro may have found his way to Kurthus. According to Firemac's vision, he was abandoned in the Az's Law, but what did he do afterwards? Then there is but one way to ascertain the truth. We follow his trail. I shall go and search for the clone in Az's Law. If he is still there, then we are dealing with a different individual. A splendid idea. We leave the floating continent in your capable hands. Meanwhile, Firemac and I shall retrace Vaindro's steps whence he first appeared. Upon being found in the central highlands, he was taken to Camp Dragonhead. Let us begin by making inquiries there. Also, you won't be seeing me wearing these gunner glasses in future episodes. I'll take those off. But for this episode, we shall be rocking the gunner glasses. So we're going to Camp Dragonhead. Woo! Oh man, look at, there's like arrows going all which ways here. Theobalin. Investigating the stranger we found, are you? I wasn't involved myself, so I can't tell you much about the fellow. But in the case of its interest, in the case it is of interest, earlier the same day I caught sight of an airship flying dangerously low. It soon disappeared into the brewing snowstorm, looking none too steady. Your exchange with Theobalin has taught you about an airship flying low. Neato mosquito. So going in here, talking to Yael. Ah, 'tis ever an honor to receive you. What brings you to our humble camp this day? An injured man who was found out in the wild? Yes, I know the one. I was with patrol that chanced him into him north of here, at Providence Point. He was unconscious and in a bad way. We hurriedly bore him back to camp. That was weird. Bore him back to camp. After doing what we could for him, we sent him on to the city. Your exchange with the girl has taught you where Vaindro was famed. Where is this? Oh, in there. No, that's not a thing. What? Where is that? Okay, cool. I'm sure I knew that I could go in there. I'm sure that's always been a thing. Well now, if it isn't the late Hoshafal's dear friend, is there something you require? Ah yes, the mystery man. I was among those who tended him. He was not attired for snow, much less the snowstorm in which he had been caught, and was suffering from frostbite. When people are extremely cold, they may mistakenly feel that they are warm in this robe. That might explain his state of undress. Your exchange with Nene has taught you about Vendro's state when he was found. Oh, my gosh. It is going pretty well for a recording, don't you guys think? It's going pretty well. Alright, Sir for Emmerich. There you are. Were you able to learn aught of interest? Yes, we found this piece of paper and this piece of paper and this piece of paper. A mysterious man found collapsed after an airship was seen flying low. Yes, the accounts I heard are consistent with yours. I, for one, am curious about the fate of this unknown airship. To that end, I have arranged a pair of black chocobos for us, the more efficiently to scour the area. We shall contain our search to Providence Point, where Vendro is said to have been found. Do I talk to him again? If you're ready, let's be off. I mean, oh, okay, we're doing one of these. Okay, cool. We're flying with Sir Emmerich. Yay! Wee! Flying with my buddy. Flying with my buddy. Where? Seriously, where are we flying to? I'm sure we were just talking about it. Oh, we're actually gonna go there? Because I don't think we've ever actually had to go there. No, that's a lie. I think I remember a side quest taking me there. Yeah. Nothing so far. Let us continue northeast. Okay. We're probably gonna go right to that open area. I feel like. No? No, we're literally going the opposite direction. Unfortunately, I have to deal with freaking background noise at this hour, I know. I mean, it is the holidays, so I'm not too surprised. It's fine. This is mainly a testing episode of all things, but we're still handling role quests. Which, in a lot of ways, I'm not taking as seriously as I should, but hey, it's the dragon thing. Oh, are we finally seeing what our guy looks like here? Did we happen to see him before? Honestly, don't remember. By the Fury! It's the blasphemy! Oh, flashback power! Activate! Okay, it's... Oh my god, I'm so freaking bright right now. That's the one thing I still need to fix, by the way, is the camera. The lighting of the camera. It's pretty bad, guys. Actually, I really don't know how to fix that. Ooh! Ooh! He crashed the airship, so no one was with him. His Eminence must protect His Eminence. I'm so thirsty. Oh, all that water hits the spot. It's Loverick. Loverick. Do we? I actually don't remember where we see him before. Yeah. It'll come back to me when I'm editing. Ah, you are finally awake. Haloni be praised! How are you feeling? Strong enough to speak? Can you tell me your name? Oh, I think it was the guy that actually came to us, now that I think about it. My name is... Zephyrin. No. It's Sharbert. Or was it... Velgwyn? Polycrane? He's not sure which one he is. So many names swirling in my mind. Voices that reject them. Is there none that they will accept? Well, I think this guy is literally just a Heaven's Ward incarnate. Heaven's Ward incarnate. Just all in one. Are you alright? Wait, what was that vision we just saw? Vaindro. My name is Vaindro. Dro. Well, now that's the same as our infirmary. I dare say fate has guided you to us. So, Vaindro, or Drew, I still don't know which way to say it. If you're feeling up to a little conversation, can you tell me about yourself? Anything else you remember? Anything at all? Yes. A proud son of House Zamel, nay, a devout servant of Halone, who lives for the rush of battle, the pleasure in inflicting pain, the intentions of maidens, to fight beside my brother in arms. A low-born runt, whose every effort went unrewarded, whose very name disqualified him from ever leading the Temple Knights, but his eminence raised me up, granted me a place at his side. From that day forth, I pledged my sword to his service, pledged my very being, my life to be offered up in defense of his. I am a knight of the Heaven's Ward, sworn to protect and serve the Archbishop. Oh, you're a knight? Forgive me if that sounded rude, but I had no idea. And while I realize your memories may be a bit muddled, I'm afraid I must inform you that the Heaven's Ward have not been seen in quite some time and are presumed dead. And the Archbishop, well, he is most certainly no longer of this world. But the important thing is you're safe now, and we'll help you get back on your feet. Speaking of which, let me bring you some food and water. You must be absolutely famished. Like, whoa, bro. You must be completely famished, bro. Like, bruh. Like, bruh. The Archbishop dead? No, this cannot be. How can I still be alive when he is not? I must find him. I must find him! That's where it begins. Cool. Firemac! What? What's up? For the glory of King Thordan. My windpipe's gonna give us a little scare and go away. Okay, that's cool. Another vision, I take it? Yup. Let us make for Ishgard. I expect that Lord Artwael will return soon, if he has not already, and we should both be glad to hear your tale. The tale of Uzumaki Naruto. I don't know, I just keep finding ways to think about, like, anime. So is that the whole quest? Yep, that was the whole quest. Alright. So to the foundation, baby. Elgato's still doing good. Elgato's hanging in there. Heading to the strategy room, I should be glad to show you and Firemac, I pray your search was more productive than my own. Oh, it was Artoirel. Everyone is here. Excellent. So, were you able to find our clone in Az's Law? Nay, not but the discarded Escalon remained. How fared you with your own efforts in the Central Highlands? In the course of retracing Vaindro's steps, we came upon the wreck of the Soleil. I suspect he found the vessel abandoned in Az's Law and tried to use it to return to Ishgard. But he crashed en route and was subsequently rescued by a patrol from Camp Dragonhead. So it would seem that the Archbishop's airship was not the only thing we found. Profane Fafnir was there too. The creature chose to flee, but not before Firemac had a vision of Vaindro's past. Go on, my friend. Share with us what you witnessed. So, like, dude's a dragon, and, like, Heaven's Ward, they're like, kinda back. Like, all of them? It's, like, weird, but it's one person now. It's kinda weird. Don't you think? It's kinda weird. All the pieces fit, and it is as you surmised, my lord. Vaindro and the clone are one and the same, and in his despair, he turned to the blasphemy. Did the confusion he exhibited when asked his name, seems as if he wasn't sure of his own identity. According to the science, primals retain the memories of their previous incarnations. From this, it may be assumed that the clone harbors the memories of all those who became King Thordan and his Knights 12. Though he struggled to reconcile these conflicting memories, he managed to settle on the name Vaindro. The voices within were clearly in agreement when facing Fireman, the mere sight of whom drove the blasphemy to flee. Above all, however, they shared in the desire to protect the Archbishop. This desire was seared into Vaindro's very being, and when he learned that he no longer had a purpose, the Heaven's Ward took up arms against us in Ishgard. By their hand, were we robbed of one of our finest knights and a dear friend. I was talking about Harshelfoam. Even so, I will not wish such a terrible fate upon them. The self-same fate inflicted upon my full many clergymen, and a fate I fear ordinary citizens will succumb to if we fail to act. The people will not soon forget the betrayal of our church's leadership, nor should they, but absent the comfort and the stability once afforded to them by the institution, many have become lost, and are all too vulnerable to despair. The people don't have to forget, but they need to move forward. The church can still be a source of comfort, but things need to change. I like the first one. Ugh, we just gotta move on, bros. Yeah, okay, well, we're good. We're cool now. I thought as much myself, my friend, but to hear you say it as well. Indeed, when the ground upon which we stand crumbles, we must find the strength to move forward, even should it cause us pain to do so. Lord Artoirel, at the next house session, I shall call for what is this word? Ecumenical for an ecumenical council to be held. What is that word? I've never heard of that word in my life. Not even anything close to that. My lord, such a gathering is reserved for... Oh, you intend for the church to codify new doctrine. Since the separation of religion and state, we have refrained from interfering in certain church affairs. But if the church is to remain a part of Ishgardian society and continue serving the people, it must reconsider its role and formally address recent revelations. I would call for this council not as the Lord Speaker, but as a humble adherent of the faith. Long had I considered whether such measures were necessary, but lacked the courage to set them in motion. I now have it thanks to you. Yeah man, what's one talking about? I shall tend to the necessary preparations at once. Among other things, we must reach out to those of the clergy who are amenable to reform. I ask for your patience in the meantime. Yay! So, the church is going to be reformed, yay. 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 Whee! So that's level 89 stuff. Alright, cool, so now we can go to our scholar. Because I do believe we were trying to do scholar stuff, weren't we? Scholar? I remember what scholar looks like. Yep, there it is. I remember how to play scholar. No, I don't. Don't tell me. I know this. The Ala Mhigo quarter. That's right. See, I knew. Oh, water feels so satisfying right now. A new battleground. The quest to protect vulnerable Ala Mhigans leads to Ul'dah. Here to see Commander Alden, I take it. This way, please. You see that? I did a focus target. This one's probably my least favorite so far because there's been just like super boring. It's a shame because I do like the characters. Our request for an audience with the Sultana has been accepted. Before we depart, I'll share what we've learned since we last spoke. Yes. The blasphemy continues to elude us, all the while driving others to succumb to despair and turn. Even with Ala Mhigo and Ul'dah forces searching for signs of the beast and more potential victims, we've yet to discern a pattern in the chaos. Nevertheless, if our blasphemy is like others, its behavior is likely dictated by the passions and regrets of the man it once was. Therefore, any information concerning him and the life he led may help us to track it down before it strikes again. We don't want people to shun the families of the skulls any more than they already are, but the fact remains that the vast majority of the beasts have been born from them. They're the ones at greatest risk of turning, without question. Fordola concerned me. Oh, that's right. Fordola was almost close to turning. Fordola concerns me too. She came close to transforming once before, so I think it might be best if we keep her out of this after all. Seems like a waste of a capable soldier. She deserves a chance to make amends. I like that one. That's right, I don't even have a proper... Can't even see my eyes. I'm inclined to agree with Firemac. She was able to resist the transformation and has shown no signs of succumbing since then. If she wants to do her part, I say we let her. If only I could go in her stead. Now you chill out before you start transforming on us. Actually, I was hoping you'd come with us to beat the Sultana. I believe she would benefit greatly from your understanding of the struggles of our people face. You gain from the experience too. While she's not the sort to brandish a sword and charge into battle, you'll soon discover she's a champion in her champion of her own arena, as brave as any would. I doubt she'd have much to learn from the likes of me, but it would be an honor to make her acquaintance. Arenvald and I will go on ahead and wait for you in the Hustine Strip. We'll see you anon. We shall see you anon. Yeah, so let's just go to friggin' older guys. Going back to the OG, the original town, the canon town. I'm still fighting. It's the canon starting town. You can't convince me otherwise. Woo! Wee! 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 Papa Shan's here. Master Papa Shan was just telling us that Namino, or should I say Lady Lilira, has gone on another of her jaunts about the city. Though it is not my place to question her Grace's judgments, I do wish she had consulted me before running off on her own. Perhaps I'm overthinking it, but it's unlike her to keep guests waiting. Woo! If I may say so, sir. With blasphemies appearing throughout the land, it's a dangerous time to be going for a stroll. I suspect that may be the very reason. She wishes to see for herself how the citizenry fare in these trying times. Even so, it's downright reckless. We'll find her, though. No, I couldn't possibly allow such esteemed guests to... Come now, we might be here on official business, but we're old friends. And as you may remember, I've a knack for tracking down errant sultanas. Some might say that knack is a rather charitable... I should be glad of the assistance. I'll take a look around here. Quizzing the locals will give me an opportunity to learn of recent goings-on in Ulta too. Well then, there's no time like the present. Fear not. With me on the case, this will be over before you know it. Come on, this. Oh, this. I was trying to use the map to teleport there. Sorry, guys. I forget. You guys probably heard of that one. That was kind of loud. Talking about background noise, if you don't know. It's been some time since I last combed these streets for young Lilira. As a matter of fact, Papa Shan and I would compete to see which of us could find her first. As I recall, most of the contests ended in my favor. The trick is, you see, is to look past the disguise and pay attention to the gestures and mannerisms. The tiniest movement that might give her away. Come, I'll show you how it's done. Oh, dude, is Ralbon cheering? Oh, yes, Ralbon's with me. Yeah, hanging out with my buddy. Oh wait, no, I'm not. No, I'm following him. Dang it. He's not following me. I'm following him. I'm following you. She's fond of perusing the stalls here. Yeah? I come here too. For my market bird shenanigans. We're just gonna go the whole way, man. Just save me the time. Just do it. Just do it. If she's not here, where could she be? What if she's been abducted? Abducted? Oh, well. Raubon's freaking out. In one of these pots, perhaps. Or not. Wow. It's kind of funny. I've never heard to be this elusive. Well, cheer up, buddy. We'll be okay. That's odd. I've tried all her usual haunts, so unless she's hiding inside a barrel or something equally nonsensical, she must be elsewhere. Gods, why did she choose now of all times to run off? What if she's been abducted or run afoul of a beast? There's no need to assume the worst, we should keep looking. Let's go that one. You're right, I know. But it's hard to not to worry. Where could she be? Come to think of it, something Papashan said caught my ear. He thought Nanamo went on this excursion because of the emergence of the blasphemy of the beasts, to better understand how her people are coping with the situation. If so, then she'd be driven to seek out the most desperate and destitute. Pearl Lane, then. Might I ask you to lead the way? I'll admit my ability to track missing persons may have dulled somewhat. Oh, now you're following me. Now you're following me. Yay. Oh, I didn't read that. Hold on. Pearl Lane has ever been plagued by pickpockets and the like. I'll watch your back, so go ahead and give the search for Lilyrod your full attention. That's what was said. And this is the usual, hey, you're following me kind of speech. Oh, probably wants me to go up these steps. Extra talkings? Talking nodes? Yeah, there we go. Talking node over here. That's what I'm talking about. Let's just chat. Let's chat, Raubon. Well, it might not be immediately obvious. Conditions here have improved considerably of late. Her Grace continues to support the rebuilding efforts in Girabania, which has led to the creation of jobs for many of the locals, both here and on the other side of Belzer's Wall. Nice. That's nice. It's real nice, man. Glad things are looking good for you guys. And Olga. Oh, we got another talking node. Let's chat, Raubon. In every society there are the haves and the have-nots. The seldom in this divide more sorely felt than here. Yeah, more sorely felt than here in Olda. Many of the young and able-bodied work for Lolorito as guards, though he earns more in an afternoon than most will in a lifetime. Nice. Cool. That was fun. More fun information. And this is the goal. No more extra tidbits? Nope. Nope. Don't mind that it's Christmas right now. There she is. No. Lady Lilyrod! Raubon? Whatever are you doing here? And Firemac too? Well, I am glad to see you both. Our meeting is not yet due to commence for several bells. What is the meaning of this? You were worried, and with good reason. These are far too dangerous times to be roaming about alone, Your Grace. Some things never change, but I assure you, I am quite capable of looking after myself, in my own city of all places. More importantly, I wish to observe firsthand how the people have been faring of late, that I might be better prepared to participate in our discussion later. But I have finished. You will be comforted here. Did I change your voice? I think I changed your voice. Then pray allow us to escort you to more amenable surroundings. Would you care to ride on my shoulder? Certainly not! You have already attracted more than enough attention. Raubon. He misses having her on the shoulder. I still ship them. Even though their age gap might be a little too large. Where are we going? Bustling strip. Okay. I don't see Lady Lily-Ra over here. There she is. I thank you all for making the journey here during these difficult times. It is my pleasure to properly make your acquaintance. On behalf of the people of Eorzea, allow me to express my sincerest gratitude for your continued dedication to our cause. With respect, Your Grace, I am just a soldier. Was a soldier. Still, I say, Commander Alden would not make such a distinction, and neither will I. You yet serve your people, and have provided a solace to many of Ala Mhigo's most vulnerable. If we are to deal with this threat, we must forearm ourselves with knowledge. I understand you come bearing information regarding the blasphemy and its victims? We have indeed. Hence the need to locate families and Crania-Lupi members who have fled to Thanalan. There is no end to the struggles faced by Ala Mhigan refugees, and those who once pledged allegiance to the Emperor are no exception. But rest assured that irrespective of their past, all will be treated with an even hand. All will be afforded such aid as I am able to provide. Magnanimous as always, Your Grace. If I might be so bold, I have a question. What do you have in mind for those most at risk of undergoing the change? I believe there is but one recourse. Earnest and open dialogue. While some are born into unimaginable wealth, others suffer great hardship and oppression. The circumstances of our birth are beyond our control. Our fate subject to the whims of the gods, some would argue. I once thought myself a prisoner to my fate, a figurehead helpless to watch on as my people starved. A powerless puppet. I wanted nothing more than to cast it all aside, to free us all, but failed for my naivety. And then was afforded a second chance for my privilege. The world is unfair, terribly so, but we have the power to push back against inequalities and injustices, if not overcome them on blessed occasions, to love our neighbor and share in life's bounties, to open our hearts and come together as one. Truer words were never spoken. But without the support of the people, such words are not but vain platitudes. Thankfully, my recent attempts to make inroads with the monetarists have met with some success. Despite differing views on many subjects, we yet strive to find common ground. Common ground. We've been pouring all our efforts into aiding the families of Crania-Lupi, and while it seemed to help to a degree, some have still succumbed to it. Of course, they're not the only ones in danger. Ala Mhigans everywhere. Whether they sided with the Empire, fought for the resistance, or were caught in the middle, they all suffered. They all wake up in the night at times, haunted by memories of death and despair. We know what can happen if those feelings are left to fester. legacy of the Imperial occupation will not soon be forgotten. But rather than seek to forget, mayhap it is necessary to remember, to acknowledge and accept the truth of it, that they may properly mourn those they have lost. A remembrance. I propose we hold a memorial ceremony for those who died during the war. Everyone, no matter who they were or what they did, let them be loved, let them be hated, but above all, let them be remembered. And in the remembering of the dead, in their honor and in their sin, we, the living of Ala Mhigo, may yet find a sliver of common ground. It's a noble sentiment, but bringing together people who have reason to distrust one another and risk inflaming tensions could be a recipe for disaster. Then again, you can't keep ignoring the married in the room and do nothing to address the situation, married being the elephant, as long as we leave it to the individuals to decide whether or not to attend the ceremony. I think it's worth a try. Organizing an event of this scale will require a great deal of effort, so I offer my full support. Once you know what's needed, come to me and we'll put the plan into action. Where's Lise, man? Lise should be doing this. I guess Lise is technically out in Barlow mode right now. I guess. Obviously some will balk at the idea, which is perfectly understandable. So I'll be listening to her opinions as well. After all, we want it to be a ceremony that brings all the Mhigans together. I was wondering, Your Grace, if I might ask about your approach to, well, talking to people, winning them over. As I can tell, I'm no politician, so I'd be grateful for any advice you could share with me. Why, I would be delighted to. As a matter of fact, I have a number of matters I wish to discuss with you. And on that note, you and I return to Ala Mhigo. Nice. So those two will have a nice little chat. And then we're gonna do the next quest immediately after. Yeah. Alright, we're all bound. I knew Arnvald would make a good impression, but he's outdone himself. Not only has he found a new avenue in life to explore, he's taken to it with considerable aplomb. And while his proposed memorial ceremony is bound to have its detractors, I have faith that many will come around. Not all, but enough, I pray. For our part, we must stand at the ready for whatever may occur. I shall send word if there are any developments. And boy, will there be some developments here in like 2 seconds. Alright, there it is. Laying the past to rest, Arnvald wishes to put your considerable reputation to good use. There you are, Firemac. Commander Alden has asked me to convey to you the following information. At present, we are looking into reports of missing relatives of the Crania Lupi. With the cooperation of the Silver Griffins, we're currently searching for any clues as to their whereabouts. Thanks to the concerted efforts of Ragnfrid and the others, the general public has been willing to cooperate with our investigation. Though many still harbor feelings of distrust for the collaborators and their kin, they've grown more receptive to our cause on the whole. Arnvald's been making steady progress in preparing for the memorial ceremony. He plans to host a meeting between the various community leaders to go over the finer details. In fact, he was wondering whether you could assist in delivering the invitations. If you could spare the time, you should be able to find them in the Mercantile District. Anyway, that's all for now. I have a few other matters to attend to, so if you'll excuse me, duty calls.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she wouldn't stop talking.
Yeah.
Oh. Woo! Okay, so this will most likely be the last quest I do for the video today. We're like in Roll Quest Town, man. But you know, it's a perfect time considering where we are in the main story. It was a perfect break point, I think. Thanks for coming. It should become no surprise that the planning a memorial ceremony for a whole bloody nation would keep a man busy. But by Ralger, this is something else. The hardest parts have been gathering information on those who died in the war, especially when it comes to the skulls and other conscripts. And they're the ones we need to treat most carefully. If we don't acknowledge the crimes of our kin in all their painful truth, then we do a disservice to the victims living and dead. But if we let people paint them as monsters who did monstrous things we believe we would never do, then we perpetuate a different but no less dangerous lie. As for preparing the event itself, I'll be holding a meeting with the members from each of the settlements around Garabania. I've sent invitations to most of them already, but I was hoping that you'd help me with the last two. There's Miraz Nun in the Peering Stones, and Sarisha and Viranilia. I'll give you one for each. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they refuse, considering how their people suffered at the hands of the skulls. But I hope we can remind them that deep down, we're all just people trying to survive, to protect our loved ones. We may have driven the Empire from our lands, but as long as we hold fast to the grudges born of their attempts to divide and set us against one another, we'll never be free of their legacy of cruelty. With that in mind, I've included an account of my experiences with the Silver Griffins and the people I've met, victims, collaborators, their friends, and their family, men and women who lived through it all, survivors. Even if they refuse to join the ceremony, at least they will know, and hopefully understand, our reasons for holding the event. Granted, I've not had much practice in writing important letters, but I think they'll get the message. You being the one to deliver them will make a world of a difference, I'm sure. Take care, won't you? Woo! Man, everybody's talking a lot! Alright, so the Peering Stones. Okay. Miraz Nana. I think this guy is from the quest lines, isn't it? The side quest lines from Stormblood. Don't know if you guys know. Because I don't know. Greetings, friend. It has been a bit too long since we last spoke. What brings you to my village? This right here. Cutscene time. Oh yeah. I think that's just the father of Minago. Is it Minago? See, rumors are true. I need not read this letter in full to know its contents. I understand the Ragnfrid's volunteers are working to support the families of those lost in the war, which you will deny is a worthy cause. But to include the relatives of the Kranya Lupi? The skulls watched the Empire slay us in our thousands, and still they turned their cloaks and fought for our oppressors. And you would ask us to mourn the deaths of these curs alongside their victims? Ask only that you read the rest of the letter. You have every right to be angry and to refuse. Arnvald wishes only that you read his account before coming to a decision. I like that one. It's a little more... It has more information. To dismiss it out of hand would be discourteous. Very well. Family. As Nunha, my tribe is my family, and know all too well the responsibility that brings. I would do anything to protect them. Anything. Loyalty, pride, conscience, my very soul. All are meaningless if I cannot ensure the safety of those I love. I suspected some skulls had been faced with the self-same choice. To see how their kin suffered, I cannot say I do not understand. Though I wish that I did not. Their crimes will never be forgiven. They cannot be. But I, and any others who are willing, can offer our prayers for these tortured souls and the men they could have been. I accept the invitation, not on behalf of the M-Tribe, but as Miraz Nunha. Though I will put the question to my people that they may decide for themselves. I am also eager to make acquaintance of the person who wrote this letter. He is not wont to turn a blind eye to the bitter truth. Painful though it is to confront, the meeting will be the perfect opportunity to take his measure. Clearly, something's gonna go wrong at this freaking meeting. Otherwise, this wouldn't be a quest line. Do we know the name of the blasphemy in this quest line yet? I like how for the tank, it was like immediate Glipnir. Welcome. To what do we owe the pleasure of your visit? It's right here. Oh, cutscene time for this one too. Then it is as I suspected. There have been rumors that such a ceremony would take place. Although you have traveled far to make this invitation, I must decline. We cannot mourn the loss of the fallen if the Scrania Lupi are to be counted among them. Like the Kalyana, they chose to aid the Garlean oppressors, killing and bleeding for those who would pillage our lands, cowards and traitors all. And we are to assume that the Kalyana who died fighting for the Empire will be honored as well? If so, then that is all the more reason for us to refuse. That is your right, and no one will say otherwise. I come only to represent a letter and ask that you read in full. Our involved understands and accepts that you might refuse. His only request was that you read his account and then decide. Both are pretty good. I'll go with the first one. If you insist. Ooh. No one has spared suffering in the occupation. Not the resistance, not the collaborators, not the families of both. No one. That so many would die in shame and ignominy, having sold their souls only to lose everything, is a tragedy and a lesson. If they are forgotten, then the lesson on their folly is forgotten. For the sake of this land we call home, I will join you in remembrance and implore my people to do the same. In mourning, may we strengthen our ties with our neighbors as well. By together facing our past, we can build a foundation of lasting peace and prosperity. It would be my honor to attend the proposed meeting, and I look forward to personally thanking your friend Arnold for his dedication. I and my peers have much to learn from the example he has set. Not a justice. Not a justice. Alright, back to the freaking... No, that's not what I meant to do. Well, my chocobo's there now. I don't have to fly anywhere. Freaking dude's right here. So, how did you fare in the fringes? There you go. Took one look at your letter and they changed their mind. They say that about me? It's rare for me to get such glowing praise, especially from renowned leaders from like Sarisha and Miraz Nunha. More importantly, though, they agreed to attend the meeting. I've got you to thank for that. After all, I imagine it's hard to turn down an invitation when it's hand-delivered by the Warrior of Light himself. Before I get ahead of myself, though, I must remember that this is only the beginning. Bringing everyone together as one thing. Coming to an agreement on an extremely divisive issue is a different kettle of fish entirely, as Her Grace was quick to point out. But as she's taught to me, If our cause is just and our hearts true, those of like mind will surely answer the call. And answer they have. And answer it they have. While there are bound to be differences of opinion, I'm sure there's nothing we can't overcome if we put our minds to it. To that end, I was hoping you could join us, if you've the time to spare. There are still a few loose ends Ragnfrid and I need to tie up beforehand, so we'll meet you in the palace as soon as we can. Just having you there will make a world of difference. Oh, is the meeting happening on this quest? I guess this is, yeah. I guess this is gonna be a little longer than I expected, but it should be fine. It should be fine. Here for the meeting, yes? Yes. Yes, the meeting is this episode. Is this the same batch of people from the lease meeting? So while we all agree upon the importance of the ceremony, we recognize that the inclusion of the Cranialupi will be distressing for many. I too lost family at their hands, and I would never ask others to forgive and forget. But for all their crimes, they were Ala Mhigans just like us. None made the decision to side with the Garlemald lately. They had a choice, and they chose to betray us! Who among us have not made difficult choices for kith and kin? I do not forget that Fordola chose to stand between us and a primal. What does that have to do with it? Brothers and sisters, arguing will avail us not. You tell him, Raban. The fate of Ala Mhigo rests on my shoulders and yours, on those of every man and woman and child that calls these lands home. To uphold our honor, to strive for prosperity, to protect our loved ones, we all know the weight of these responsibilities. 'Twas that self-same weight which drove many of our people to serve our oppressors, misguided as it was. And though they chose a different, unconscionable path, in the end, we all wanted the same thing, to deliver our families from persecution, and that they might live to see one more day, because another day in shame and self-hatred was still better than none at all. The regretful dead are survived by their despair, a despair which threatens to drag us all into an abyss from where there is no escape. Know that it surely will if we welcome it into our hearts, out of disdain for those we cannot forgive. But we, Ala Mhigans, will not be so easily defeated. We will stand united and conquer this menace. You gonna say something more, Emerald? Every Ala Mhigan who fought and died did so in the hopes that one day we would be free. And we are free. We are free. By the blood of our fallen brothers and sisters, we are free. Free to lock away the pain and pretend it has no power over us, until it festers and takes us in our beds. And free to lay it bare and let it breathe, to acknowledge and to mourn our people at their best and their worst. The past is ours to bear, all of it, for ourselves and for future generations, so that they needn't suffer like we did. Let us make Ala Mhigo a nation where no man is left behind, where he can make all the wrong choices and still be afforded the chance to make it a right one. Yeah, there we go. Good job, Arnvold. I knew you had it in you. Yeah, buddy. You. And there we go. No, not you. Shut up, Blasphemy Hunter. That went better than any of us could have hoped for. You have my gratitude for your part in the proceeding, but we both know who the real hero of the day was. This was all Arnvold's idea, and it was his words that finally won over the naysayers. Now that we have the community leaders on our side, we should have a much easier time convincing the rest of the citizenry. Of course, holding the ceremony is by no means our final objective. No matter what we say, some will refuse to attend. It is my hope, however, that it will still serve to provide a measure of closure for us all, and to ease the plight of the vulnerable and ostracized. Speaking of which, you will recall the incidents with Fordola at Alagana. The young girl she saved and her mother wish to thank her personally. Considering what happened last time, though, I have reservations. It would be a valuable opportunity to present a former skull in a more positive light. On the other hand, I don't need to tell you how unpredictable she can be, and that's before taking her echo into consideration. But that's a conversation for another day. Go and get some rest, you've earned it. Yay. Cool. We did it. Los Hicimos. So that's level 89 stuff. Cool. So that catches us up on all of that, except we have 2 other quest lines we can start now. Yeah, you didn't think I didn't get any progress on Melee. I was at 87 right now. Or my range DPS, which is at 85 right now. So I got all sorts of stuff I can do. So join me next time as we continue the role quest endeavor. Maybe we'll get them all to the 89 quest before I come back. Which no, that's not gonna happen. But we're gonna try. We're gonna try. And this is Firemac saying, Toodles. See you next time.